Hey guys, my name is Jason Lawson. I'm here with David Williamson and Brian Hebron, two members of Team Elite Alpha, which is a powerlifting team based out of Nashville, Tennessee. This past weekend, March the 8th, these guys had a really big powerlifting meet in Knoxville, Tennessee. It was the SPF Ironman Classic Pro-Am. It's one of the biggest meets of the year in the United States, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
These guys did really well, actually. We're going to go through and actually let these guys explain to you the day they went through, kind of how the meet went for them and how they used Oxygen Factor to kind of get through the meet and how it helped them in the back and during warm-ups and on the platform and stuff like that. So I think what I want to do this time is turn it over to them and let them tell you how Oxygen Factor affected them this weekend and let them put up the numbers they did. So David, I guess we start with you. If you can, just tell us how long the meet was, how it went for you, what you had to go through the day between lifts. I know there was a lot of flights there.
Yeah.
So you had a long day ahead of you. So if you just take a minute.
The bit, he said, the size of the meet. There was 65 full power lifters and another 10 to 20 bench only and deadlift only. Lifters, so a lot of athletes to get in there. So the conditions, it was really hot in the room. Really, packed in there. Long day. Lifters meeting started at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't get done until probably about 7:30. 8 o'clock that night. Mm-hmm. So good 12-hour day. Started really early. And we had to start with the Oxygen Factor really early as well to keep up our energy levels. Mm-hmm. Back, in the warm-up room, we're doing anywhere from 10 to 12 warm-up sets before we even get out on the platform. And so, between each lift, we're making sure we're keeping our oxygen levels high. And then in between the big lifts, our attempts on the meet, we're hitting hitting the Oxygen Factor between those lifts as well. So that really helped, kind of keep up our energy levels. But
So you start out with the squats, right?
Yeah, my day started out with the squats. Start out in the morning. Hit my first attempt was 625. Did really well with that one. Went to 665 and I got that one as well. My third attempt was 700. Judges said I came a little high. But what I felt using the Oxygen Factor is it was really easy to recover between my attempts. So it was really quick, and I was able to rest in between those attempts, and so it really helped me really nail those lifts.
How many hits were you taking in between the lifts, in between you going out on the platform and then coming back for your next lift?
I'd say probably 5 to 10 hits between those lifts, just because I had about 10-15 minutes between it. So every once in a while, hit it, and like I said, I could definitely tell a difference.
Yeah.
And so, and then on, the next one was Ryan with the bench.
That's right, Ryan at the bench. We'll come back to him after you get done with yours. But so you actually went in the lobby and laid down for a little while and rested while he he was on the platform. So and then you had to come back and. So you preloaded again, right, before you started warm-ups, before your bench press flight came up,
preloaded
right?
with it and did my warm-ups, hitting the whole time doing my warm-ups for bench. Bench only had about, probably 6 to 8 warm-up sets with that. Mm-hmm. So in between each warm-up set, hit it again, and then like I said, in between each one of those attempts. My opener was 390, hit that real easy. Hit 425 for my second attempt. Went for 445 and missed on that one, unfortunately.
But a little technique flaw.
Yeah, a little technique. It wasn't energy level.
It wasn't strength either.
It was just got off on my technique. But yeah. So and then we all moved on to the deadlift later in the evening, which is where I felt the strongest. Did 6 to 8 warm up sets with that. Hitting the Oxygen Factor throughout the night.
But you've been taking this all day up to this point, so that's probably why he came back and helped you later in the day.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you'd have been gassed. I mean, you'd have been wild. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Back tightness.
Yeah.
So it really helped me recover, especially because I felt back tightness like Ryan just said, and hitting that Oxygen Factor throughout the day really helped my energy level stay up and replenish my muscles. And deadlift ended up being my best hit. I went 3 for 3 on deadlift. Opened up with 615, hit that real easy. I got my elite total with a 650 second attempt, and then did a 680 lift for my third attempt, just to kind of throw some frosting on the cake.
Yeah. So you got what you came for. You got the elite total. Yeah.
It was a really good day.
And you probably had 700 or more in your pool that day, but you went conservative.
Yeah, I probably could have. Probably a lot of people were upset that I didn't. But
But I mean, we had the back tightening up. It was a long day, so we kind of went, the route of staying healthy and coming back and getting that total later.
Yeah, and it was
later and going for your pro total.
Yeah, it was a 25-pound PR for me. So.
Well, you PR'd on every lift though.
Yep, absolutely.
You PR'd on every lift during the meet.
PR'd on every single lift.
Yeah, so you can't ask for much more than that.
No.
Yeah. So you had a good day. I mean, it sounds like it really paid off for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, you actually benched after David's squat. There was 4 flights of squat, correct? And then after you got done, actually we were warming you guys up at the same time. And then after your flight of squats got done, there was were you in the 3rd flight or the 4th flight, David?
They had me on the 3rd flight.
3rd flight. So we had another flight of squats to get him ready. And then you had to start getting ready pretty early, and we wanted you to start getting ready early so you could preload oxygen and get your warm-ups in and take your time. So if you kind of run us through your day.
Yeah, I actually woke up with a little bit of knots in my upper back, so I kind of started getting ready pretty early, probably about close to an hour before I even went on the platform. But got stretched out, started working on my knots in my shoulder blades, and we're getting them worked out. While I was doing that, I was hitting the oxygen pretty heavy. Then I started with my warm-up sets and did about 10 to 12 warm-up sets. Worked all the way up from 135 pounds all the way up to 635 pounds before my first attempt.
From 675.
675, yeah, 675. Yeah. 635 was my second warm-up. So I worked all the way up to 675. Again, hitting the oxygen about 4 to 5 times after every warm-up. Then I got on the platform. My first attempt was 715. Missed that. Had some technique issues. Couldn't get the weight to touch. But again, kind of gassed me. That first attempt, I had to work really hard. So it took a lot. It took a lot out of me. So as soon as I got back there, my wife shoved the can of oxygen in my hand and made me take about 5 to 6 hits then. And then my second attempt was 735. Again, it was a pretty lightweight. It was hard for me to get the weight down, so I really had to work again. Got up off the bench really winded.
But you got the lift.
I got the lift, yeah. Hit that pretty easy. It was just like I said, it was kind of tough to get it to touch, and it kind of wore me out on my press. So I kind of it was a tough lift. Hit the oxygen again after that 5 to 6 times.
So physically, I mean, how did you feel after the 735? Did you think you could come back and hit more weight as far as the strength was not an issue Saturday?
No.
But the fact that you have to wait down there so long, unlike David in equipment, it kind of wears you out.
It does.
So when you go back there, I mean, you're kind of worried about, do you have enough left to hold your air and get the weight up? So,
but truthfully, like when I got off the bench after the 735, I was just as I said, I was really winning because I had to really work hard. But with that being said, within 2 to 3 minutes, I felt great.
Oh, really?
My energy level was sky high. You can tell I had a lot of red blood cells because of the oxygen. I felt great. So I was ready for 755, and so we put 755 on the bar for my third attempt. And that actually ended up being my best lift of the day because of I think it had a lot to do with the oxygen factor and just being diligent on taking in that oxygen in between my lifts, and the 755 flew up.
Yeah, it was the fastest lift of the day.
Yeah, it looked a lot better than 735. So I finished strong, and it had a lot to do with the oxygen factor.
And here again, I mean, you left some on the platform as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I had about another 20 to 30 pounds in me.
Yeah, I think that's
from a fan's perspective, since I was watching from the crowd at that point, resting myself, watching him come back after those, first 2 being so tough, and him hitting that third attempt so strong. I mean,
it was impressive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was very impressive. We've
was
seen him do a lot in the
watch.
gym. So we knew he had it in him, but I mean, you just never know how it's going to go meet day. how hard you got to work out on the platform.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so kind of leading into that. I mean, you guys are kind of a little different in the fact that you lift raw, so and you're full power, so you got a long day ahead of you. I mean, so the oxygen, I mean, is going to work the same for both of y'all, but you can stretch yours out longer. You know, and you've got a lot more to take by the end of the day, and I'm assuming that's why you were saying that, you know, when the deadlift came on, you were fresh. You know, some of your strongest lift of the day. Where you know, you warm up in the back, you got 3 attempts on the platform, and you really got to show some oxygen in and get it in. And you know, you're handling a lot of weight, man. I mean, you're warming up with over 600 pounds in the back and over 700 on a platform for 3 lifts. So I think, you know, it's a different dynamic in the fact that you're lifting, you know, way more you can handle raw.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're maxing out raw too. You know, and you got a longer day and more lifts, way more warm-ups in the back. You know, you got 9 attempts on the platform. So I mean, I think there it shows the diversity of the option, how it can work.
Absolutely.
You know,
and I
make
could,
it work in
you know, from my first meet, without it, I struggled throughout deadlift. I just was, you know, I was happy to have it done.
Yeah.
And when I got done with this meet after my 3rd attempt, I was ready for them to load up more weight. You know, I mean, I was, you know, like I said, I was that replenished by the end of the day, which was completely different than my first meet without oxygen factor. So a completely different experience.
Yeah. This is my first meet. Well, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is my first meet with the oxygen factor, and to be honest, you know,
I was going to ask you that,
a lot. I was 10 times. I recovered 10 times faster than I did for any other meet.
So
I was sore the next day, but I mean, usually my whole body aches for a week. And I mean, this is what we're 3 days out from the meet. And I feel great.
Yeah.
So I think that has a lot to do with the oxygen and just being diligent with it. And you know, obviously a lot of it has to do with diet as well. But you know, I think that, you know, when I'm looking at the differences in what I've done in the past for training and for meet preparation and for meet day, you know, the one variable is the oxygen factor.
Yeah,
So.
and this is your second meet as well, and you didn't use it for your first meet either, and you could tell a huge difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We can see it in you by the deadlifting. I mean, nobody had no idea you were going to pull that strongly. I think that, you know, another thing is you guys have used it in training. You know, you guys have been sponsored for a while. You guys have used it in training up to this meet. But I think what some people don't understand is, you know, on meet day, sometimes things just don't go the way that you plan them to go to. You know, and we knew there was going to be a lot of lifts this meet. This is one of the biggest meets of the year in the world, actually, but definitely one of the biggest in the States. So, and we get there and, you know, we've got 4 flights of squatters. I mean, already that makes for an extremely long day. So you can't really plan. You had your back tightened up on you. So you can't really plan for, you know, things that are unseen or things that may come up during the meet. You know, but I think the point I'm getting to is, you know, you can use it during training and it can help you tremendously and get you strong. But just like you said, it came in it was a very, very important role. And both of your meets Saturday, for the fact that it was so long, it did help you recover. And you were stronger probably at the end of the day than you were in the beginning. So that we didn't foresee. So in that aspect, it actually helped in something that we couldn't even plan for. You know, so I think even in our sport, you know, when we're in training and we're using it, I mean, you know, you have to do what we do. But here again, I think it came in even more importantly on meet day because of what we had to go through, you know. So I mean, if you guys, how would you guys describe it? What kind of athletes would you guys tell to use this stuff? I mean, every athlete, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I would say anybody. I mean, you know, what we do is you know, we don't exert a lot cardiovascularly, but you know, we do stuff that, you know, a normal human usually doesn't do and shouldn't do, really. You know what I mean? As far as holding the amount of weight that we hold and put our body under that kind of stress, and you know, we use it and it really truly works for us. You know, just you can say the same about a marathon runner.
Right.
You know, they're doing something that's really strenuous and you know, not normal. So yeah, I think it can use for anything. You know, really.
I mean, and it applies to any athlete that needs to recover fast.
Exactly.
And need to come back stronger the second and the third time like we do. which if you apply it like that, it's every athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's for.
So exactly, it brings up a good point because, unlike him, he's got 3 lifts on a platform, an extremely large amount of weight. But for you, it did come in as not only as a power lifter, how we lift a max weight for 1 rep. It came in for you as an endurance factor,
Because
like you said, because of the length of the day.
Yeah.
And the amount of warm-ups you had to do was ungodly between the 3 lifts in the back, and then you got to go out and perform to your best ability for 9 attempts on the platform. So I think as a power lifter, people may not think about it, but it is an endurance.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you did have an endurance
And it helps
situation
with the
Saturday.
physical endurance because, another thing that plays into it when you're doing such a large meet, it's stressful. It was hot, it was stressful.
Yeah, it
You're
was.
trying to get your warm-ups, and there's tons of lifters around. So when you can remove, the physical, stress and, be able to recoup physically, it makes the mental aspect of it a little bit less, it doesn't wear on you as much.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, just like, I said, 12 hours of lifting is what we went through. I went, like I said, third flight on the squats all the way. That was the last flight on deadlifts. It definitely played a factor in just being able to keep my strength up all day long.
Yeah. So this Saturday, you got your elite total, correct? And the pro total is not much far.
Got a little work to do.
A little more.
Yes.
But I think the key is you left some on the platform, so we've got more to build on than just the number you put up, correct?
Absolutely.
And then Ryan, actually, we looked it up, and he's actually ranked. He'd be currently ranked when the rankings go up around 7 or 8 in the world in his weight class, super heavyweight multi-ply bench press. So that's not too shabby, And of course, we know David has way more potential than he put up on Saturday. So I think these guys are, a very good result of how the auction, works for us and helps us. And I mean, it helps you perform at an elite level. I mean, literally. I mean, you guys are at an elite level. You guys are probably 1 or 2 meets out from becoming pros in their respective divisions and weight classes. So it definitely has taken this team to a next level. You still have to do everything you're supposed to: training, supplementation, diet. I mean, you guys really are strict on that stuff. But I think everything in this sport, I think every little aspect you can add to your game is instrumental on meet day, as much as training. And you think you need everything you need that you can get,
Absolutely.
perform at that level. So, I mean, I would definitely, ask the question. I mean, would it be something you would take out of your training regimen?
Oh, no, I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
It's very, very important.
Yeah, as athletes, you're looking for anything extra that's going to give you that extra edge.
Right.
And then, like I said, adding this to it and seeing the results so quickly, I wouldn't, definitely not taking it away.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not. No.
And just like I said earlier, when I go back after my meets, I evaluate my training cycle and what I've done, and I go back and I look and see what I've done different, what I could have done better, what can I take out, and to be honest with you, the biggest variable, the number one variable, that's different from my last meet is the oxygen factor. So,
really.
and the way that I felt after the meet and the way that I felt during the meet, I literally could have, I could have lifted afterwards, put it that way, so I felt great. So, I think the oxygen factor, was a huge asset.
Yeah, definitely. Would you guys recommend? I think a big thing that people may not be doing out there with oxygen is the importance of the preloading. I think it came in. You started preloading early into the meet, and like we said before, I think it really came in to the end of your meet. It paid dividends at the end. I think that's one thing that guys you may not be doing out there is the preloading aspect, because if you don't preload and you guys try to go out there and hit a max weight or hit a certain number of reps, you don't have it in your system. It's not running through your system.
Yeah.
So there's just no way for your body to catch up to it before you're going out there and exerting that amount of energy or effort. So it paid dividends for these guys. So we definitely recommend preloading, especially. Well, even if you have a long day or a short day, you just have to know. And that brings up another point. I mean, you know, managing the meet Saturday, it took we had 18 members in the back, I think, and it took every one of us to handle you guys. And we really had to look at where you guys were in the flight. You know, when you needed to start warming up and when you need to start taking the oxygen. You know, and we had to plan all that out. So obviously it worked to perfection for us. But that is something we went through. We just didn't sit down and you guys started hitting it. We actually planned that out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, and you looked at the flights and figured out when you guys need to start taking it.
Yeah.
You know, and in between attempts you guys were hitting it. So, you know, I think you guys did very well in making it work for you guys and maximizing, you know, you guys' performance. I guess in closing, I guess one of the things that I would ask you guys is, in the future, you know, in your training regimens and all this stuff, in using the oxygen, you know, how much you guys use 5 to 10 hits in between warm-ups, but you could have used more, you think?
Oh yeah, I mean,
you know, but you would say the minimum would be 5 to 10 hits.
I think for what we do, you know, for the amount of stress we put our body under, you know, I would say I probably ended up using about a can that day.
Okay.
I think that was optimal for the type of stuff that we do.
And
the type of stress that we put on our body.
Yeah, and then the fact that you only had, you know, just the bench press.
Just the bench press.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, and then you used a couple of 2 or 3 cans, didn't you?
Yeah, I went through a few cans.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's just as, you know, like back to the kind of the preloading stuff. It's just as important as, you know, hydration, proper hydration. And, you know, you're wanting to get, you know, when we warm up, you know, you're getting that blood into the, you know, muscle, and you want to get, you know, oxygen-rich blood into the muscle, you know, beforehand. And so,
Exactly.
yeah, it's just, you know, just as important as that.
Yeah.
So minimum of 5 to 10 hits
absolutely.
in between.
Yeah, I would say
to
absolutely.
maximize. I mean, I asked that question because, I mean, you guys, that's, you know, obviously it worked for you guys. So we just want to bring that up and point that out in our sport. That's kind of going to be the standard, the minimum standard that we would use. You know, I've used it myself, but these guys have recently competed, so they actually have it proven. You know, they got the numbers, and those will be posted on the website here hopefully pretty soon. But yeah, I think you guys did very well. You know, you did real well, and I think it paid off for us. And in the future, I mean, it's something we're definitely going to implement into our entire team. You know, I mean, it's a very important role in what we do. So, I guess in closing, guys, I mean, I guess we just need to give a huge shout out, huge thanks to Oxygen Factor for taking us on and giving us this, you know, this tool that's taking us to the next level, actually. So, I guess we'll see you guys next time. We got a couple of team members putting on some meets, doing some meets later in the year. So maybe we can do another interview then. So until then, guys, see you.